Dude, where you been? You look fresh out the shower.
I'm surprised I'm not bright red. I've just ran down to my office knowing that we've got a guest on in about 15 minutes. And about an hour ago, I was digging a hole by torchlight. I'm not like a grave digger, to mount a pole for Starlink.
Oh my God. I've been there, my man. I've been there.
I still love it. Hey there, welcome back, Digital Ramblers. You're tuned into another episode of the Digital Ramble Show with your favorite scene setters, Chris Gamble and JJ Canon.
And we've got a banger alert for you guys today. A conversation that hits right at the core of every modern home, the network, the foundation of everything a smart home is built on.
That's right. We've got a guest from one of the biggest names in Wi-Fi and home networking, a revolutionary brand that changed the landscape for home networks, mesh Wi-Fi. We have Chris Thorp from Eero joining us tonight.
That's right. Hey, but before we get started, Gamble, want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, those that are looking for some home tech solutions. Check out digitaldelight.com, home technology solutions where less is more, less boxes, less wires, easier solutions to use. Check them out online, digitaldelight.com.
And my company is Customized. We're based in east of England near Norwich. We cover East Anglia and London, providing Lutron, Sonos, Eero, all your home tech favorites. That's our core three. We're delivering those on a daily basis in your neighborhood. If you're enjoying the show, one thing that would mean a lot to us is if you could like it, share it, leave a comment, interact with the show, ask questions. We would really appreciate that. We big up to all the supporters who over the years that have contributed, the guests, the commentary that we get. But keep it going, guys. We really appreciate those thumbs up.
This past week, we got actually several comments from our friends. I want to give a shout out to Nick Sutton and Mike Grubb. Hey, buddies, how are y'all? Thanks for tuning into the show every weekend and sharing your thoughts about what we do on a daily basis. Thank you very much.
Let's see, maybe there'll be future guests. But our most recent guests have been Benjamin Davies from Smart Homey and Inspire AV. That was episode 170 out on Spotify. And last week we had the fabulous Sarah Drescher from Lit. The original Lit lady was on for episode 178 talking about luxury tech. That's on YouTube, Spotify, and Facebook.
Gamble, on this episode, we're talking about Wi-Fi that just works, but there was a time where it just didn't work. I was thinking, I was driving in my truck thinking about this episode because it's just going to be such a great episode. And I was sitting in a hallway and it was kind of like a dark hallway. And I'm just kind of in the corner. I kid you not. Listeners, I am not joking. A lot of our education is done in dark hallways. Like just in front of a computer before a good education. And I remember reaching out to an IT guy who I thought was my friend, and he was, but it just not understanding how a network worked and trying to understand IP addresses and subnets and SSIDs and the vocabulary of a network was just so confounding for me in the early days, and just the pain, as an integrator who was really, really trying to provide a solution to the best of my abilities with the devices that I had available to me, was, the pain in those early days, man. Goodness. You remember any of that?
Yeah, I remember my early networking days with Apple Airport Express, Apple Airport Extreme. Those devices really got me out of the poo sometimes because there wasn't that many Wi-Fi network solutions. There was some routers that you could put into kind of access point mode, but I remember Apple Airport Express changing the game, and it gave you AirPlay as well for music, which was awesome as well. What became apparent is the network wasn't just an option anymore, it was foundational. It was at the core of every product, every project as well, had to have a robust network. And once you implemented that into your business and started with the network and built that robust framework, you had the smart home install success after that, but you had to do that part first, and we talk about it so much, and that's why we value conversations about home networking, and we've brought in one of the best in Chris Thorp and what he's going to talk about today, and we're going to unpick things from his experiences and learn more about Eero.
Yeah, I remember when the network started creeping into the home and a client wanted me to connect their DVD player so they could watch a movie on this thing called Netflix. And I thought it was just the weirdest thing. And it was just another wire that and another tool that I had to figure out. And I wasn't too excited about it. But from that, hardwire, wireless has evolved. And what was clunky and challenging, Eero has made extremely simple.
Yeah, definitely brought peace of mind to our connected homes that we deliver. So without further notice, let's bring in Chris. JJ, push that button, mate.
All right, Digital Ramblers. So we have with us Chris Thorp. Chris, thanks for getting on the show with us. Chris, now you've been with Eero just over a year, but before that, you've been with Sonos for 14 years. That's a serious run. How did that experience building up one of the most beloved brands in home audio set you up for success to come on as this role at Eero? Tell us about your role there at Eero.
Sure. Well, hey, first, thanks for inviting me on. This is a treat. It's going to be fun to have this conversation with you guys. Really respect you and your the business that you have and the show that you have. Yeah, so I was very fortunate to join Sonos back in 2010, and I was employee 175 is what my employee number was. So I was there at the early days, and my background is I had spent 10 years in retail prior to that at a retailer called Ultimate Electronics was where I spent most of my time, which was a Midwest and Colorado-based retailer that was more upscale premium a type of retailer. But I was brought on to help build out the training side of the business at Sonos. And throughout that, I got the opportunity to really train a diverse group of audiences, right? From small independent dealers to the big, Best Buy and everything in between. And throughout that journey, as we built up that team, we also started to build a direct sales model for the pro side of our business. So for the CI side, instead of using rep firms, Sonos decided to transition to a direct model. And as that built up, they looked to me to say, hey, if you've developed a number of great systems, processes, and ways to manage a field team, we'd love for you to kind of take on this next challenge to manage the professional CI side of the business along with the training side. And so I took that on and man, did I have fun with it. It was great to just work in a different setting, work with professionals that really truly cared about their business. It was much more about building relationships in that versus really just teaching basic fundamental, core technology things to a retail associate. It was fun to see the different variety of dealers, right? As we all know, in this business, you've got, dealers that are 1 to 2 man operations up to very large companies and everything in between. And they all had their different, pain points, wants, needs, and things like that from us. That was fun to figure out how to leverage those things to be successful with that. So that's kind of where it started. I had the opportunity about a year and a half ago to join Eero. As I explored that opportunity, I really saw that Eero was kind of in its growth cycle, probably where Sonos was 5 to 7 years before that. And, still in a place where well-known, but yet still had plenty of upside growth opportunity in both retail and the CI business. And I found that to be a fun challenge, and I was looking for a new challenge. And so I gladly jumped on board and have no regrets about that. It's been a fun ride ever since.
Yeah, we love that journey from the classroom to leadership. You're one of the big spokespeople now in the industry, well respected. So fantastic journey. Looking back on the journey that Eero have made with their origins in 2014, some tech lovers having frustration with networking, dead spots. That frustration then, triggered them to develop the mesh Wi-Fi system that we know today. Does that that grassroots, that origins, is that still part of the culture today in Eero? That relieving that pain points and frustrations?
Absolutely. I think Eero is kind of still startup-y. We've got our founder, Nick Weaver, is still the CEO of the company and really our strategic visionary leader about what we're going to build and how we're going to do it and who we are to the industry and world. He founded this company. Really, his roots in networking go back way before he started Eero. In fact, as he told me the story, he used to be the neighborhood IT guy for all of his parents' friends and supported them out with all their IT needs in their home. And as he went away to college, he was constantly being called and asked to help troubleshoot their network and different things that people were having problems with. And so, he clearly saw that there was a need for a better way and a better option that existed today. And with the evolution of mesh networking and the smartphone that gives capabilities of app control and more customization and personalization. He saw those different software and hardware pieces meeting and had a vision for what it could be.
That's super exciting. Nick creating an incredible solution, my understanding, in his garage, with some of his good friends, and then creating something so good that in 19 a knock came on the door, Amazon, and asked to purchase Eero for $97 million. Now that's no little small bite. I mean, that's you got my attention. Yeah, I think I'd like to work with you guys. How's that partnership accelerated Eero's growth without losing its scrappy customer first roots? I mean, that's what I love about Eero, is because they're so personable with their clientele.
Yeah,
How's
look,
that
I mean,
partner?
there's clearly positive and negatives with joining a large organization. But what I would say on the positive side of things, if you're a hardware manufacturer and you're the CEO of a hardware manufacturer, you're gonna have to go out there and you have to figure out what's the employee insurance going to be, and we need to get HR and recruiting processes, and we need to have different financial and legal processes and all sorts of variety of things that a CEO would be responsible for. Right? When you join Amazon, a lot of those things come with it, and right, and so you don't have to think about so much of the operational side of the job, and you can focus more on developing great hardware and software solutions that are going to appeal to a wide variety of users. And so that's given, I think there's some bandwidth there that's been given because of the fact that we're part of Amazon, and then there's some strong support. There is as you all know, there's a deep wealth of knowledge and skill sets within Amazon that make us better every day, right? We get strong guidance from executive leadership on how and what we should be doing. And I think everyone would say it's been a net positive to be a part of the Amazon organization.
Yeah, the backstory is always fascinating with these what has become household brand names. I love the origin story of them. It's the kind of podcast I listen to where I just love the journey of these products. Moving though onto hardware, which is what you guys excel with. The range from Eero, it's obviously evolving as the technology and the speeds are evolving. But you have such a nice layout on the range from your entry level, budget friendly, Wi-Fi 5 type systems, moving into Eero 6, 6 Plus, then into now you're seeing Wi-Fi 7 as an option and an affordable option as well. And on top of that, pro ranges and things that offer PoE. But what seems to be the sweet spot where people, the everyday home with a good solid internet connection coming into the property, are there decisions based around speed, size of property? What is the kind of typical installation of Eero?
Yeah, fair question. I think everyone's unique needs are slightly unique, but if you're asking for the average consumer, right, the average person doesn't have a home that's larger than say 6,000 square feet, right? So a 3-room Eero mesh network system will cover up to 6,000 square feet or 2,000 square feet per node. So that's one consideration. So that most all Eeros cover that. Then we've got a bandwidth consideration. The vast majority still have less than a gig of service today. So even anything from our 6 Plus or the 6E or Eero Pro 7, all those are going to be well sufficient for the current bandwidth. I think the biggest thing that consumers then think about is that I might own this thing for 7-10 years. And so we want to make sure that we're buying something today that isn't going to be obsolete in 2 to 3 years from now. And that's where the Pro 7, Pro 7 and Eero 7 models have been a great addition to the portfolio, because now we're seeing more and more hardware devices that support Wi-Fi 7. For example, the new iPhone supports Wi-Fi 7, and we're getting more of that in the marketplace. I would add just one more thing to that is that, again, most people have a gig or less of service today, but I think we all can see in the not too distant future that is growing exponentially, and it's not unrealistic to think that in a few years that we might be getting 2-3 gigs of pipe coming into our house that we want to take full advantage of and don't have to replace our hardware in a short life cycle. So being future ready is probably a high priority for most customers.
Yeah, that's something that fits squarely into the portfolio of what Gamble and I designed for, is finding devices that have a long shelf life, in a client's home, something that they can use long term. We're constantly talking about quality return on your investment and designing with purpose. And a big purpose is having a device that is constantly up to date with the latest. A big one for network is like security and safety and things of that nature. Recently, like on that Eero Pro 7, it dropped earlier this year, and it had like tri-band Wi-Fi 7. I like that it has fanless cooling, because it doesn't make all this noise and like all that kind of stuff
Right.
that sound like you have like flies in the corner or something. But it has really cool security features for safety, and then like you were talking about, it has like 3.9 gigabits. But for busy households like streaming and gaming and working, what kind of real world differences does it make? Like, what does that mean to mom? Like,
Sure. Me too.
going, Jay, I'm listening to your podcast and you're saying all this cool stuff, but Chris.
Look, the average, let's be honest, most people just want their Wi-Fi to work, right? They want it to work reliably. They want to, they don't want to have buffering when they're watching a movie, or they don't want to hear complaints from their family members, right? So if you think about, every house has got a chief technology officer of the home. They don't want to hear it from everyone else, especially, they may be busy at work and stuff like that. And, they don't want to get that phone call that, hey, I'm, trying to watch a movie and it's not working. So reliability is a key priority for all of our customers, right? All of us personally too, right? And so having a device like a Wi-Fi 7 tri-band device is going to be the most optimal solution for today, and also 5-6 years down the road, right? When more and more smart home devices enter our home. I mean, if you think about it, 10 years ago, if you told me that I have 70, 80 smart home devices in my house, I'd say, how, where, what do you mean? But now we've got smart plugs and smart lights and all sorts of things, and things that have not even been imagined yet that are coming down the pike. And so we want to make sure that as we install our networks in our homes, which is really the digital plumbing of our house, that it is something that is going to be reliable today and give us great streaming experience, but one that's going to keep up with us as our homes evolve.
Chris,
Yeah.
you got to say it with me. The network is the foundation that
It's the
every
foundation.
smart home is built on.
It is the foundation. It is the
It's
heartbeat
the
of the home, right?
foundation.
It's the
Okay.
foundation. It's the heartbeat, and your smart home interface is the brains of the home, right?
You can't go past go without a good network. I mean, if you're thinking, I'd like to have a smart home, you go straight to the network section, go straight to, your favorite device. Mine's Eero. We've been using it for years, almost a decade now. But yeah, it's the foundation for everything a smart home is built on, no doubt.
Sure it is. I mean, you buy all sorts of fancy gear, and if it doesn't work reliably and it buffers or cuts out on you, it's not going to give you the experience you paid for.
You know, that new gear, that's now starting to not just be within the four walls. We're seeing that gear need connections outside of the home, whether it's smart cooking appliances, smart garden tools, you know, links to buildings where people are now exercising and working, maybe in a studio, you know, detached from your home. What's good with Eero, they appreciate that people are using their Wi-Fi outside of the home. There's nothing worse than being put back onto 4G or 5G just when you stepped, you know, half a dozen yards from your house. You're not connected to your
Yeah.
home, which is ludicrous. You guys have addressed that with the Eero Outdoor 7. How's that been? What kind of features does that give? Is that something that's been well adopted by not just the pro channel, but homeowners as well?
Yeah, it's been a wildly successful product, actually. The Eero Outdoor 7 runs retail in the US is $399 for this device, and it offers up to 15,000 square feet of coverage for your yard or garden, as they call it in the UK. And also, you can partner two together, and you can do a point-to-point connection that's
Wow.
up to 1,000
Okay.
feet, right? So up to 1,000 feet point to point. If you think about who would really benefit from that, a lot of people have outbuildings where they may have very expensive farm machinery or boats or, you know, expensive things that like JJ does, right? Yeah, that they want to make sure that they have reliable Wi-Fi in these outbuildings. So putting two together is now going to give you that experience in this outbuilding to make sure your security cameras always stay active, and make sure you can get your internet out there. Oftentimes software updates or just being able to stream music and stuff like that is important. And so two of these point to point solves that problem for customers.
Yeah, 15,000 square feet. I was telling Gamble before the show, I want to do like a live hashtag live install and put one of these Eero Outdoor 7s out on my property so I can take some Ring cameras down into my valley with some
Yeah,
solar panels and check out my deer down there live on my
there you go.
Samsung TV in my house in Houston. Yes, we can do that.
That is amazing. I would love to see it. You know, and look, yeah, it's we say 1,000 feet. I think it actually, you know, we've tested a little further, so I'd be interested to see how
Wow.
far you can stretch this and still get
Amazing.
reliable connection.
Yeah, I mean, I love the solutions that Eero is always expanding upon and the features and the user experience. And that is, you know, thinking back, I think that was one of my go-tos with Eero was that user experience. And I always talk about, you know, my time of really transitioning my business into doing what we're doing now, this less is more model. And really what it is less frustration, more happiness, you know, is what it was. And it started with Ring, and Ring's experience that they allowed us to have with their app was just so user friendly. And so I started looking for other manufacturers that was very like-minded in that type of user experience, and I came across Eero, and Eero has that very friendly, how are you doing? 1, 2, 3, bada bing, we're done. Welcome to
Mhm.
the network, you know, and you know, you plug it in, you open the app and you're online. Literally, it's miraculous. Especially it was miraculous at the time because all the pain that I had previous to that. And as a business owner trying to provide good, reliable solutions, it was just very, very painful with other manufacturers, and Eero made it so easy. How's here Eero built security and safety features into that same seamless experience? You know, how have they made it easy to know that, hey, I'm secure or I can be secured if so needed?
Yeah, sure. A great question, and I appreciate you see what I see, which is that the app experience is amazing. The Eero app, every customer gets a highly secure Eero network. That's something that we pride ourselves on. spending a high level of investment to ensure that your equipment or home does not get compromised. And so it's something that we built into every product and every design. You mentioned we also have an advanced subscription called Eero Plus. That's going to give you a little better data analytics to be able to see how many security threats were blocked this past week and which time, and you can be able to see device analytics through that, and really get a little bit more in-depth information from a security standpoint. I would add, that there's other functionality. We could talk about that too, but there's other functionality of Eero Plus that makes that a nice benefit for customers too.
One of the subscription options you have for Eero Plus, it's a great one for parents, I think, with the parental controls, ad blocking. You can see, kind of screen time. But one product we saw at CDF, which I think will tie in with that subscription model, is Eero Signal.
Yeah.
That's that backup. If your main provider goes down, Eero Signal takes over. Can you explain what this product does?
Yeah, we're really excited to bring this to market, and we'll be doing that early this coming year. Eero Signal is a device that is a cellular backup. It has to plug into one of your Eero nodes. Once it does, and you subscribe to Eero Plus, which at the basic level for $100 a year gives you all the benefits that we talked about, but also gives you 10 megabits of bandwidth, which you can also upgrade to 100 for the year. And what this will do then is if you have an unreliable connection, or if your network goes out because of your internet service provider, it'll automatically kick over to cellular backup. And we do this through what's called an eSIM that's built into the device. It is going to, we're taking care of the connection to the cellular provider, and it's going to find the best cellular provider in the area to connect to give you that reliable connection.
Fantastic.
We think it's going to be a hit.
I love that. I think that is a great add-on. And the thing is it works with some of the devices that are already out in the field. It's like literally you order it and you can plug it in, and
Absolutely.
that's what I'm talking about, is that future thinking of that extended shelf life. You're not having to buy new necessarily, but sometimes you are having to buy new, and sometimes, you're expanding your house, or you have a new device, and that new device needs a stronger, or maybe has capabilities of accessing higher speeds. And the cool thing that I like about Eero is their intercompatibility. Like you can mix like a 6 with the 7, and have that true return or extended return on your investment. It's just not done with.
Right.
You can always interchange them, and so whenever people are making those choices and interchanging them, what considerations should they make? I mean, like 8K's coming out, multi-realities coming out, VR's here. What should they be considering for these super hungry bandwidth type devices? Like when we talk about bandwidth audience, we're talking about like a big road or a big hose. We need a big hose to get a lot of information down it. So
Sure.
what should they be considering whenever, they're making these purchases for a Eero?
Well, look, I mean, typically the pipe that's coming to your house is going to provide adequate speeds. If you're getting a gig speed, you're going to be fairly adequate to be able to stream multiple K streams at a time while somebody's on their phone on Facebook and stuff like that. So certainly, I think again, most people are getting the getting proper amount of bandwidth to their home if they're at that 500 to a gig level. But as you add more people to the home, as we get more and more connected devices that are interacting with your network on a regular basis, those are the type of things that are going to impact bandwidth needs.
I just want to add to that, whenever we get that big pipe into the house, we got to distribute it correctly. And y'all have this, and it's not in our notes to talk about, but y'all have this Eero gateway that allows y'all to route and distribute super high speeds of bandwidth as well as allows you to provide, power over Ethernet to different devices that for the custom integrators that watch the show, you're allowed to PoE or power over Ethernet different devices throughout your house. It's a great piece that is truly part of a full solution that Eero is offering. I just want to interject and add that in there.
No, I appreciate that. I agree. I that's how my home is wired myself. We have to add to that. We have a new PoE 7 Wi-Fi 7 tri-band router that's going to be hitting the market here on November 17th. So that device is going to retail for $499 as the MSRP, and certainly the most optimal way to get the best Wi-Fi coverage, if you can do it, is to be able to place your node in the most optimal spot, which is typically in the middle of shelves and things like that. So yeah, the PoE gateway is what's going to enable that. That's eight ports, 100 watts of total combined power. And to that other point, if you have the ability to run hard wires, this would give you the ability then to say run it to a switch where you can, my own home team and gear is all physically hardwired. So it's taking less of the bandwidth from my Wi-Fi because it's not required to use that at that point as it's being hardwired.
Yeah, it's what we say to all our customers. If it doesn't move, plug it in. So
I heard a
if
stat.
go
Each
ahead.
device that you take off your network reduces your bandwidth by bandwidth constraints by 4%. So each
Terrific.
device.
Clip that one, JJ. So with Eero, we're talking about great Wi-Fi, great network, but a kind of under the radar feature that we know as pros and we think is fantastic is it's a full-blown smart home hub with built-in Zigbee, compatible with Thread and Matter support. What's the typical integration path for people, and what are you finding that people are adding? Is it just, working in the Amazon Alexa kind of framework, or is it then reaching further to door locks and you know smart routines in the home? So how does the smart hub features of Eero come into play?
Yeah, just another great benefit that comes included in an Eero router now is a smart home hub, right? So to your point, you have Zigbee, so that's going to be great you can eliminate the need for a second hub, Zigbee hub for that. So that's awesome. There is enhanced Alexa integration, so there's going to be faster response times through the Amazon ecosystem with the Alexa integrations. And then we have Matter, which is kind of, a nascent area at this point where we're seeing more and more devices, but this allows for devices from different manufacturers to, seamlessly talk to each other. So all of this in support of the smart home, gives the customer more bang for their buck than you might find in a different device.
I remember one time I was at a manufacturer's summit. They had us all fly out to their big corporate place, and it was beautiful. I mean, if y'all are doing that, call me. I'll fly out to y'all's
Yeah,
place, no problem at all, Chris.
happy to have you.
And I remember they were giving a presentation about features coming out, and it was like Bluetooth and Blu-ray and HDMI, and like all these technologies were all up on the board, and they were like, we're just pumping the brakes. We're just kind of letting it settle in. We're just kind of letting it see what falls, shakes out, before we really jump in there. We just, we don't really want to be so aggressive. We want to kind of pump the brakes a little bit. And Wi-Fi itself has just evolved so fast, very similar. I'm seeing the same thing, in the Wi-Fi thing. It's gone from like Wi-Fi 5 and it was like Wi-Fi 6 and then it's like Wi-Fi 7 already, like there was not even really a Wi-Fi 6. I mean, we're already in 7.
Mhm.
What pushed Eero to go all in on the transition and so aggressively? Like they were like, we're going.
Yeah, look, it's we we read the tea leaves, right? So when you hear about different manufacturers talking about their future product roadmap, they're dropping the breadcrumbs that Wi-Fi 7 was going to be the standard that they were going to use for the hardware in their products. And so as we're looking, trying to look around the corner and be the product that is going going to be future compatible with these devices that are coming out. We said that Wi-Fi 7 is the way to go, and that trend is holding up. That has become the more dominant standard now as far as sales, and it'll pass Wi-Fi 6 this year for for most sales. So just really, really making sure that if a customer buys our product, that they're not going to look back at a year or two from now and say, "Hey, I wish I had this or that," because now my new hardware is more predominantly in say Wi-Fi 7. So it's moving quick. Wi-Fi 8 will be here sooner than later.
Yeah, we'll be ready for it. That's what your Home Tech Pro is putting that infrastructure into homes to add these products to deliver Wi-Fi 7, Wi-Fi 8.
Right.
We're keeping up to date. That's why you should be engaging with the Home Tech Pro. Is my home ready for 2030? Is my home ready for 2035? It's not that we know exactly what's coming, but we can put in some brand neutral infrastructure that can prepare your home for what's coming later. And you're working directly with some of the biggest retailers out there that the public are attending. They're going there, they're doing their shopping for their home electronics, and the home network has become vital. Do you find that their shopping habits for home networks are coming from some frustrations of maybe they've bought the latest television but are having streaming issues? Are they spending a lot on gaming equipment and then feeling that their network's not supporting that? Or are you seeing people just adding so many network devices now that their internet service provider's router is under strain, and the solution is a more robust router, and then obviously on top of that a mesh system?
All of the above. So everyone's got their unique trigger moment that they decided, hey, today's the day I need to upgrade my router. Oftentimes it's when somebody moves from one place to the next. They don't want to, take down the old hardware and put that into a new home. So they look to make that upgrade then. But then, they're finding that they're seeing now that there's Wi-Fi 7 devices are prevalent, and they're looking back and like, boy, the last time I bought one was Wi-Fi 5. If you think about the largest pop in our industry happened during COVID, right? Where more and more people were sequestered to home, and mom and dad are on Zoom calls while kids are streaming Netflix and Xbox and all those type of things. And they quickly realized that their current network situation was insufficient for that sudden change in their life. And so many people made their upgrade at that point. And now we're 5 coming up on 6 years, post that. And people are saying, okay, now it's time to make that technology upgrade, which is, following the typical upgrade cycle that you see.
Chris, looking forward, Eero's powering tens of millions of devices across countries all over the world. What's the boldest moonshot you see on the horizon? What do you see these guys doing that's transitional, that you think that maybe our industry should be prepared for? Because I kind of feel that's how we were with COVID. We were caught off guard, and I really think that our industry is crucially placed for a time of need, particularly with AI and all the transitions that were happening. How do you see Eero and what's coming forward, helping our industry or transitioning our industry? What do you see on the horizon for us?
Well, that's a tough question. I mean, as you know, I can't divulge anything about the future product roadmap. So, leaving that on the table right now, I see some trends that are happening in the networking space. You've got Starlink, and now Amazon's launched their competitive version called Kuiper, right? So, in a not too distant future, it's very likely that we'll have satellite internet service for our phones, or giving people with remote access capability of having higher speed internet than what they're getting today. So I think satellite internet is probably the most exciting thing that's happening currently, and excited to see where that goes, right? We've heard different partnerships, like Amazon Kuiper is partnering with airlines to include that on their airlines, things like that. So, that's probably the biggest news of late.
That's awesome. And one thing we've seen in some great marketing by you guys is how well you've integrated with some of the major internet service providers. I see Eero on the side of buses. I see it, on posters in the tube network in London. it's becoming the first, the cornerstone of their networks, and people maybe not even aware of it, how what they've actually got baked in right from the go. This is not a throwaway router from an internet service provider. This is, a real first point for a strong network. So really congratulations on how you've penetrated into the internet service providers here in the UK.
Yeah, the team does a fantastic job of working with internet service providers. I think, to your point, the keys are the hardware matching great software. We provide a backbone support system that our pro dealers use all the time called Insights that allows you to be able to remotely manage and troubleshoot your client systems. And our ISPs use a bit more advanced version of that to literally manage millions of customers' homes remotely and be able to troubleshoot and do all the things that are necessary to ensure that there's a high level of success in people's homes around the world.
All right, Chris, you know the drill. We're going to be doing an interactive segment called Setting the Scene. Who's
Okay.
on your team? All
All
right.
right.
And Gamble and I, we've been talking about smart home pros in our
Sure.
industry and setting the scene. And the scene is an acronym for security, communication, environment, network, and entertainment. And there's a couple of sub divisions under each of those categories. And so we just wanted to see what maybe you're using personally or what you have experienced that might create the right scene for your home. And so let's set the scene. Who do you
Okay.
have for maybe security?
Security, I have a Ring security system in my home. Obviously, Amazon support, and it's just the best option out there for me and my family.
Okay, that's becoming a favorite, JJ.
Mhm.
Communication, Chris, that could be your favorite voice assistant, an app you like using, or a control system you have. What would you go for communication?
Yeah, it's a great one. I have an Alexa, and I have an older version of the Alexa. I don't know the model, but the smart home tablet that gets regular use in our kitchen. But I don't have the AI enabled version yet, which I'm looking forward to getting because it's going to enable more functionality. But I tell you, it's probably one of the most well used products in our home, especially by my 5-year-old daughter that likes to sit in front of it all day long and request K-pop Demon Hunter songs that then pop up on my Sonos speakers, and it's creates a very great gathering spot at our house that's provides a ton of entertainment.
That sounds like a lot of fun. I have had that same experience at my house, and golly, I wish we had them again. The time is short. Embrace
Yes.
every moment, Chris. Embrace every moment. All right. Moving on, environment. Now, environment, we talk about lighting, shade, climate, but also, there's water or air filtration. Who's your go-to for maybe environment? Who's a fave for that?
My favorite Lutron Caseta, I've got, a bit of an addiction to it as, you start with a couple and you just keep adding them over and over and over. So I would say that's probably the one smart home device. If you said you can, you got to get rid of everything, but you can keep one device, what would you keep? That would be what I would keep in my house is the Lutron lighting control. Very, very enamored with it.
Yeah, for us, Lutron is just one of those things that once a customer's had a taste of it, they'll never live without it. From house to house, it's one of the first requests. Chris, we're moving. Let's get this set up in the new place. I think I know the answer to the next one. N is for network. You can give us a scenario though of maybe some other things that assist your home network, maybe an internet provider, but surely you've got to go with your with
Yeah, I mean,
your with Eero.
easy one to lay down is the Eero network. So I've got 3 PoE access points from my gateway. I've got an outdoor 7 device, and I also have an old Eero Pro, and I just little just two reasons for that. One we were struggling to get Netflix streaming on my wife's workout space on her Peloton, and so just wanted to add another device for that reason. And the second was in my garage area where I've got my sprinkler controls or the furthest spot on my property, and that's just I just wanted to ensure I had reliable coverage there. So well covered in my home.
We know as well that you're a fire pit guy. You like your time out by the fire.
Yes, I do. A little fun fact is I'm a strange guy. I in the summer times here in Minnesota, which we really relish, I have a campfire 4 to 5 nights a week. I sit up on my campfire with my daughter and
Love
just
it.
chill out and listen to music and watch the fire. Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
And so for entertainment, rounding out the scene for audio, video, or maybe theater, I don't know, is theater important for you? What's your
Yeah,
rounds
look,
out the scene for you?
I would say my tops on that, in my media room, I've got a 77-inch Sony XBR flat screen with the Sonos Arc Ultra amp, and then the in-ceiling speakers to go with that in the sub. But then to give it the clean look, I've got a Leon tone case that makes it a flush custom design. So big fan of that. But probably my favorite tech is in my office. I've got I have a very unique office setup where you can't see it from here, but I'm using a Samsung Frame TV as my computer monitor, and I've got my camera on my desk. And the intent of that was so I can be exactly about 7 feet away from my KEF LS50 wireless speakers, which are exactly 7 feet apart from each other. So I'm in the perfect sweet spot here to listen to 2-channel music all day long. Proud to say that I'm in the top 3% of Spotify users at over 70 last year of music in my office.
Wow.
So it's highly important to me. So investing in a good rig was very important to me.
No wonder you were keeping us on a tight time schedule. You're like, I got to get back to my listening.
Back to my
Cutting into my
dude.
year.
That's actually interesting, JJ, with the people that we've asked these questions, and to hear of entertainment, 2-channel, making an impression, but also people's favorite streaming platforms. That's just as equally as part of entertainment as the hardware. It's the platforms you
Absolutely.
choose as well.
Absolutely. I would say one of my prized possessions that I would be, again, one of those things I would never give up is I've got a playlist that I've created now that it has over 45 hours of music on it, 450 songs, and I've been adding a song, 1 or 2 songs a month for the last 5 to 6 years on this playlist, and through Spotify, and it's one of my prized possessions. I just kind of put it on shuffle now, and I know I'm going to get music I like.
Yeah, that we had a really interesting conversation a couple of episodes about different apps that are really important. It's like we have all this great tech. Now what? And so, yeah, having a great go-to audio app for streaming and a favorite. So yours is Spotify. I'm a Spotify go-to guy as well. I haven't been much on a video guy, but access the video Kaleidoscape. If you're into movies, like Kaleidoscape is definitely the way to go. But yeah,
Agreed.
Kris, this was awesome. Thanks for sharing your story and the inside look at what Eero's building and what they got going on, and trying to help our listeners understand the why of Eero and the importance of having and choosing a good network for their home.
Yeah, I appreciate it. This has been awesome. Been fun chatting with you guys. Appreciate what you do and what you're bringing to the consumer and dealer base out there to help keep us all informed. So thanks. This was fun.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kris. We really appreciate what you and your team over at Eero do, and take away so much complexity and so much friction and pain points for customers and the pro channel. So big thumbs up to you and all your team.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Digital Ramblers, thanks for tuning in again to another episode of the Digital Ramble Show. We are on 11 podcast platforms. That's right, 11 podcast platforms. So please check us out. You can also see us on YouTube, Facebook. And if you really want to get in contact, if you want to get the pulse of the Digital Ramble Show, check us out on Telegram. We are in Telegram on a daily, hourly basis. So hit us up in Telegram. You can find us out at Digital Ramble Show.
I'll also add, we are on Spotify. We create this podcast on Spotify. We're one of their creators, and you can have the audio and the video right there on the Spotify app. Please leave a like, a comment, a share, all the things that we're meant to say nowadays. It's become a default phrase for podcasts and YouTube shows. But what's our phrase is, JJ, as always,
if you don't know, ask a home tech pro.